Alto strummed his lute for the crowd. The festival was in full swing. Dancing, singing, drinking, and eating. Kids ran about screaming as they played games. Perfect chaos. Finally, he was in his element. Out of the wilds and into civilization. Just where a bard belonged. Not slogging through some swamp or roughing in a dark forest. No, he belonged here. A yell rippled through the crowd and drew every eye as a spiked beast ambled into the town square. Alto was dumbstruck at the misshapen creature before it as it let out a roar. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today we find ourselves before the Hodag, a beast which is the source of many local festivals and their cultural identity. A fierce monster of North America. Let's take a look at this strange urban legend. The Hodag was first recorded in 1893 by Eugene Shepard. He reported running into the Hodag in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. He described it as a terrible brute. It is 7 feet long and 30 inches tall, but only weighs a surprising 200 pounds. Despite its small size, it is as strong as an ox. It has a head like a frog, but the face is reminiscent of a grinning elephant. It has short, thick legs with heavy claws. A pair of long bull horns sprout from its temples. It has spikes that run along its spine, and even more at the end of its tail. Fangs fill its mouth. The Hodag is said to be born from the cremated remains of bulls that were abused and suffered. This carnivorous beast has even run into the likes of the giant logger Paul Bunyan. It was often portrayed in a more aggressive manner and appearance with its first reports, but has since been shown to be a more gentle creature in the more recent decades. Its breath stinks of buzzard meat and skunk perfume, but some claim it is as fresh as a pine forest to smell. If that doesn't smell bad enough, it has been reported to breathe fire. The Hodag also has the power to camouflage. It is incredibly strong and cunning. Shepard and his group shot it with rifles, but it didn't fall. Not until they threw in a stick of dynamite did they finally kill it. Though in 1896, Shepard carved another one and put it on for show, only to be exposed as a hoax when official scientists were sent in. But it has persisted. The Hodag is still popular in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. It is the school mascot even. And they have the Hodag County Festival as a music festival, which will be held on July 11th through the 14th this year. The Hodag is also the center in the Hodag Run for Your Life 5K race and the Hodag Hoedown, an art and music festival in Phillips. No, this video isn't sponsored by Rhinelander Tourism Board or the Wisconsin one. Shame. Though their official site has a fair amount of useful information. Now, that is a lot to go over. Overall, its anatomy is fairly simple. No wings, extra limbs, or anything. Just fire breathing and camouflage. The second is pretty simple, or not. You see, the Hodag does have fur. Chameleons and octopuses can manipulate the pigment concentration in their skin. But can the Hodag do that with its hair? Maybe. But another option would be to have clear fur like a polar bear, but shorter, and then have the skin change color. It would be more complicated than changing the fur color, but possible. The fire breathing is a little harder, but there are clues. Its breath smells of buzzard meat and skunk stink. Now, the buzzard meat part could just be from it being a carnivore, but that leaves the skunk smell. That smells like an abhorrent mixture of garlic, sulfur, burnt rubber, and rotting garbage on a good day. Well, the sulfur is useful since skunk perfume contains sulfur mixed with an organic compound called thiol. Sulfur, or brimstone, isn't really that flammable, unfortunately, but it is often used as an electron receptor in metabolic processes. You know what often donates electrons in biochemistry? Hydrogen, which is flammable in the presence of oxygen. This could work as a base for a formula for fire breathing. Without getting a tissue sample, I can't get more specific, unfortunately. Now, its skin is partially fire resistant, as it is said that you can roast marshmallows on its tail spikes. But wasn't one killed by dynamite, and its remains were charred and destroyed? Well, a campfire is about 600 degrees Fahrenheit, or 300 degrees Celsius, but an explosion is more complicated. It depends on the amount of material and what type of material is inside. But it seems to be about 3,000 degrees Celsius or 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit. Regardless, explosions tend to be much harder than a campfire that you would cook on. The rest of the Hodag's body tells a bit about its life. Legs first. They are short. Having short legs is often a sign of being an ambush predator. Allows for incredible power, but not speed, and this matches. Rhinelander's official site claims that it does eat a fair amount of fish and frogs. This would indicate a more aquatic behavior. Perhaps it fishes by sitting in the water with its mouth agape and lets the fish swim in by enticing them before clamping its jaw down on them. With its short legs and long body, it may move more like a river otter. This could mean it is decently agile while in the water and may live in a burrow, potentially one underwater, which is difficult to find. If the Hodag is comparable to a river otter, it can swim about 7 miles an hour. Now that brings up, how did Shepard and his men struggle to hit the Hodag with rifles? It would seem that it was ducking into the water, where bolts are much less effective. A relatively safe space. Thus, why they turned to dynamite to catch it. I'm sure you've all heard the joke about fishing with dynamite, right? Same basic principle. The heavy spikes on its body would indicate a defense mechanism against larger predators. In Wisconsin, that would mean bears and wolves predominantly. They would allow it to defend against predators biting around the exposed neck, and the long spiked tail makes for a strong deterrent when swung. Most reports do not specify what sort of creature the Hodag is. It has fur, so mammalian. It may hibernate in the winter, like many other animals do. It'll want to fatten up a little bit and put on a layer of thicker fur. Again, this is why I think it makes dens somewhere in a lake. Looking at other burrowing animals that live near lakes, you may find young ones in the den in the early spring or late winter. The den will probably be over a dozen feet away from the lakeshore though. The opening may be underwater, but the nest should be above the water level, probably in a nearby hillside. Lastly, we have the story about how it comes from the cremated remains of bulls that were abused. This sounds like there might be more going on. Malice and suffering would have to be the cause of the rebirth. The small size would easily fit within the total remains of a full-grown bull. Most of the material for its body would come from the internal organs, assuming that they weren't harvested. The excessive spikes could potentially be explained by how the bones are usually among the most common part of a body to survive being burnt. So, how much of an overkill was Shepard's use of dynamite against the Hodag? The first issue is finding it. Remember, it can change colors and it's barely over 2 feet tall, but 7 feet long. It can easily hide behind a bush. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of a spell in D&D called Color Spray. This will actually be useful here. Octopus and chameleons can take time to change color, and rapid color changes can expose them. Studies with cuttlefish have found that the checkerboard pattern are the hardest for them to replicate. but the Hodag may be in the water. And this is going to be an issue. Underwater can already be hard to see between water clarity and reflection. So, how will you know if there is a Hodag in the water? Look at the fish and frog populations near it. Is there an area that they avoid? Look for logs in the water. It may hide under it. To find a den, look for tracks in the mud, or there's a strange pile of dirt. The best time to attack is while it is hibernating. Find where the den is, and dig in from above. There is a good chance it could be a dozen feet or more away from the lake. If you can freeze the lake, you can trap the Hodags in the nest. That could kill the rest of the lake, and that is usually not a smart idea. Now, if it is like beavers, it may have multiple exits, just in case. You want to watch or block those. Due to its claws, it may be a fast digger, but digging still takes time. After digging out, it will be tired and easy to combat. Due to its spikes, grappling is a bad idea. I take a spear or a sword for reach to stay out of the range of its tail swipes, claws, and getting jabbed by the spikes. Due to its short legs, it probably isn't going to be a great runner, but a sprinter. It can jump and jab you and run away while you are bleeding. Chances are it lacks much endurance on land, and if you give chase, you should run it down, so long as it doesn't dive into the water or escape with color changing. That might be harder as its fur thickens for winter and the color changing fades. If cornered, it can turn to its fiery breath. Avoid it. Use a spell to create a wall of ice or earth to shield you. Conjure water or strong wind to blow it away. If you are caught in it, you'll get injured, if not die. Running away or perpendicular will get you out of the range fastest. There will be a short time period before it can use this attack again. A couple of minutes at the shortest, I think. This is your chance to counter. Ranged weapons are the best here. A well-placed arrow or bullet should strike it. This will keep you away from its claws and spikes, but I take armor. Plate and gambeson will protect you from the spikes, but not the fiery breath. But no armor will stop that. A large shield will do some, but not enough. Chainmail is too prone to being penetrated by the spikes. On magic, unless your fire reaches a high enough temperature, fire is useless, but all other are good. Overall, the Hodag is a tricky foe. It does have plenty of physical strength, a range attack, and most fights will occur on its terrain. So long as you come to the fight prepared, are aware of its abilities, and aren't a fool, you should be able to slay the Hodag, and why I'm going for a 4 of 10 for difficulty. While I'm not going to say damage was excessive, you shouldn't need it. More of a hassle rather than a threat. What happens if you slay the Hodag? First up is the meat. You'll get a fair amount. Its hide can be tanned to make armor, clothing, or tools. The bones and spikes can be shaped into tools and knives. But the Hodag may be unusually easy to domesticate. You can even train it to help make s'mores. The Hodag can even light a fire for you. It's the perfect camping partner. It loves music and can even get into sports. Supposedly smart enough to make lemonade. Take it fishing or frog hunting. It enjoys eating cooked food over raw, particularly fried foods. With its digging, you can have it help unearth things you would never find otherwise, or help out on the farm. Alto looked on nervously as he began to play once more. The Hodag lolled its head in time with his music. The locals made a game of tossing food into its wide, gaping mouth before it swallowed it all. It jumped and danced about. He still couldn't believe it. This strange creature was a local attraction? A staple of their festivals? The Hodag wasn't a threat to these people. Not at all. Putting the thought from his mind, Alto gave in to his music as the night fell while the Hodag listened to his work. The Hodag is an interesting creature, one which has influenced the local population and is celebrated. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next week for the finale of Alto's journey as we meet the Yakuruna. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.